Michelle is a musician with albums released as Everyone Except Me and artist behind the post-apocalyptic webcomic Stray Cats. She's kind, a bit shy, and furiously creative. Henrik is a filmmaker with over 24 films and TV shows as producer, director, and occasionally host. He also released a couple of music albums. He's bombastic, larger than life, and tenacious almost to a fault. Together, they've been best friends for a decade. This show is awkward.
People need to know that that Michelle you have changed the recording location for your side of the podcast because your air conditioning is just way too loud, and and rightfully so, your air conditioning is loud. It's like 80 something degrees.
Mm-hmm. And it's not. I don't have central air, so I just have it's not really a window unit. It's like one of those floor movable ones, but it goes into the window, and it's not loud like the last one was, where if I was having kind of a bad anxiety day, it would like upset me when it came on because it was so loud. But it's loud enough that it would probably like not sound good. I can't I have, if I have my TV on in my other room, I can't hear it right now, that kind of deal. So
yeah, I have central air and it's nice. It's still a little loud.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear it.
Yeah, and when I do my other podcast, Weekly Spooky, that show is not, it's not casual. It's extremely, as you punch your microphone violently.
Yeah, sorry, everything is really close together.
I need people to know that you are podcasting in your bathroom, and that is phenomenal to me. Also, this is the perfect time to mention, by the way, that the service we use to podcast together while apart, for those who didn't know, we're not in the same room. I hate to destroy the illusion, but we're over half a year in, so I'm going to destroy everything. But no, they're getting ready to unveil the beta testing for video included, so that you can record two people's webcams at the same time. Oh, wow. So you better make that bathroom look nice.
Oh my god. It's just blue. It's blue in here.
But I don't know if I'm even willing to go video, because I can't tell you how many times I do this show before I get a good shower and am ready to go out into the world.
Yeah, I mean, I just want everyone to understand, like, don't assume that I look good. Like, I was just outside and I'm really sweaty and stuff. So I'm okay with having video, though. I mean, I'm just going to look really sweaty. But my bigger concern about video is, like, sometimes when I record, I'm rocking back and forth a lot. And I don't know.
Sorry, that shouldn't have been that funny, but it was absolutely that funny. But anyway, away from the topic of video, because luckily it'll probably be at least a few weeks before we can even discuss it anyway.
Yeah.
But when I do my other podcast, Weekly Spooky, yeah, it's not casual at all. It's a narration show where I narrate a scary story. So I really do feel like I need a quiet background, because it's supposed to be, you're in a quiet space with just me and I'm telling you this story. I feel that that's important.
Yeah.
And boy, does it get hot in my office.
Yeah.
Because what I'll generally do is about 20 minutes before I know I'm going to do it, I turn the AC up really strong and let it just, try to cool the house down to like 68 degrees.
That's a good idea.
And then as soon as I'm ready, or it hits 68 degrees, I shut off the furnace or the AC, the HVAC, whatever, and I record. But dude, yesterday when I did that, it only took me about 45 minutes to record Weekly Spooky, and the house rose by like 5 degrees.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, the outside is all warm, so it's coming in.
Yeah, but I mean, it's coming to get me. But I have I have an insulated home. Like, you'd think it could hold the cold for like an hour.
Well, it did. I mean, it's not like it went up 30 degrees. It's just fine.
Well, that would literally be like the speed of an oven the size of my house if it went up by 30 degrees in an hour. But just saying. But no, so and it's funny because in the winter, it's really bad, too, because I'll do the opposite. I'll turn the heat up to like 73 while I'm getting ready and then shut the furnace off. And I can feel myself getting colder by the minute.
Aww.
But I prefer that to sweating because feeling like, hotter and hotter and hotter, it feels a lot like what anxiety is like when it's growing.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing the show and sweating and I'll be like, oh my God, why am I so nervous? I've done this like 30 times. It's like, oh, it's 74 degrees in here.
Yeah.
That
74. It's I'm lucky right now if this bathroom is 78. I don't know.
Oh God.
So
you survive in that somehow. I can't. I keep the house at about 72 or 73 at the warmest.
Yeah, my house could just, on my kind of air conditioner, could just never get down that cool. But also that's terrible, and I'd just be like wearing a jacket and drinking hot tea. So it's not happening.
Well, you're a skinny little lady, so that sounded like an insult. Literally, you are a skinny young woman. So of course you would be cold. But yeah, we did just get I just got the central, I just got the, over the winter we had to get, I guess me and my landlord, I guess is why I'm saying we had to get the furnace work done. Me and the dogs, yes.
Yeah.
We had to get the furnace worked on, and it's still not perfect. The furnace, like it kicks on and then kicks off, like when it doesn't need to kick on, which is a little annoying. But it doesn't do it like forever. It'll just every now and then I'm like, why did it kick on? And then it kicks back off, and I'm like, okay. So which but you know what? I mean, right now we'll just see how it's looking next winter when I get it checked out. So,
yeah.
But the AC, I'm so glad I had it serviced because it used to be so loud that when the air conditioning was on, I'd have to turn my movies up. Like the television would need to be turned up substantially.
Yeah, that's
because it was so loud.
Yeah. When I was growing up, the AC was like that. Yeah.
But after I got it serviced and cleaned up and stuff, it's not quite so bad.
Good.
Well, the heat was crazy loud too, but the AC was always a little bit louder.
Yeah.
The AC is important because, like I said, I can let the house get really cold and be okay. But when it gets really hot, I want to die.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. I remember when I was recovering from my gallbladder surgery, I was just laying on the couch with the air conditioning like on 70 degrees and a box fan pointed at me. Because it was just like, I'm so uncomfortable. I can't allow anything uncomfortable to add to this.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I should bust out the box fan. I should do that. I should do that. But how's he? I wonder how he's doing.
The box fan?
Yeah, I hope he's well. But no, it's so I keep it as cool as I can afford. I mean, I can afford to. It's just I try not to be wasteful, but at the same time, I also have two big furry dogs, and they don't seem to appreciate a very hot house either. I always know they let me know by if they're laying on the tile floor in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's like, you're keeping it too hot, man. So, and speaking of dogs, I'm very happy that by the time we started recording this, I'd gotten word, because this would have been an even more anxious recording if I was still waiting to find out if Henwolf was good from surgery.
Yeah.
So my dog Henwolf had to go in for minor surgery. I keep saying minor surgery because I didn't want people to freak out. And that's why I didn't even bother posting about it on Facebook or anything until she was out, because I didn't want people to freak out. I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong. I was very anxious. I don't like the idea of her having surgery just because I'm paranoid. But I also like the idea of her living a long, healthy life, which requires some occasional surgery. Well, it's important to keep in mind that like cleaning a dog's teeth is technically surgery. In order to clean a dog's teeth properly and thoroughly and make sure that they have a healthy, dental, they have good dental health, you have to put them under anesthesia to really examine and clean the teeth. Well, it's just so incredibly uncomfortable for the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had my wisdom teeth cut out, they told me that pretty much the reason they put me under is not because of the pain. It's because of the awkwardness of the way they're going to pull and bend my jaw.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
They said that it basically is like guaranteed panic attack if we try to do it while you're awake.
Wow.
Like, because we're like wrenching. Well, because afterward, you haven't had jaw surgery, have you?
I mean, I've had my wisdom teeth out.
But did they pull them or did they cut them out through a surgery?
I went to sleep. I don't know. I guess they cut them out through a surgery because they weren't hanging out in my mouth yet. They were still doing their stuff.
All underneath. 4 of mine were impacted. They were all growing into mine. Oh, okay.
I think 2 of mine were impacted or something.
Yeah. Well, then you probably remember the sides of your jaws felt like little rocks. The muscles. They were really hard for like a day.
Man, I don't remember that now.
I do because it was so bizarre. But like a lot of the reason that like you can't open your jaw very wide after the surgery and stuff is because of just the amount of like stretching and trauma they've put your jaw muscles through. Because they got to get in there, man.
Yeah.
Got to really get in there. So with dogs, it's a similar thing. Also, as a dog gets older, it's very common to need some of their smaller teeth removed. Because as they chip or crack really bad, leaving them in can lead to, worse dental health and more infection. Like my poor mama's Shih Tzu, they weren't big on the teeth cleaning. So, when they found out like, oh, her teeth are not looking so good, instead of needing, 2 teeth removed every 3 or 4 years, she needed like 7 teeth removed all at once.
Wow.
Which is rough. So, but it made her breath smell way better and, all that stuff. So it was good for her. So 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I had Henwolf in for surgery to get a teeth cleaning, and we knew to get some teeth removed. Because she had a few that weren't great. She has a mouth full of pretty problem-looking teeth that are actually pretty healthy. But a few of them are bad. I remember I got her when she was between 4 and 6 years old. We don't know exactly how old, roughly between 4 and 6 years old. And we have no clue what her life was like previously. But she definitely bit some hard stuff, probably cages.
Yeah.
Well, she was caged so much when she went into the system.
Yeah.
So, she bit the cage I put her in for a little while. So, but anyway, so, the typical way that they do it is they give you an estimate of what the teeth cleaning is going to cost. And they give you a high and a low estimate. The low being if everything goes absolutely exactly the way they want, and the high being if things don't go exactly the way they want. Right. And one of the things is if, like Henwolf, you're going in with no teeth planned to be removed, but then when they're really in there, they find out some teeth do need to come out, then it's going to cost like about maybe $200 per tooth extra.
Right.
And we're talking like a $700 procedure, roughly, give or take. So I did get the call that they found 2 teeth that actually did need to come out, small ones, just like last time, 2 of them. So it's going to cost more than I thought. But so also since you're already putting your dog under anesthesia, it's good to get as much done as possible while they're under.
Sure.
So on top of that, Henwolf is prone to fatty tumors. When I got her, she had 2 really big 2 noticeable fatty tumors. So we had them removed while we had her teeth cleaned, which also makes it more expensive, but it's cheaper and safer than having to put her under a year later just to get the tumors removed.
Right.
So, so she had 1 tumor that we knew for a fact was a cyst. Like not a big deal. We knew for a fact. And one that was on her neck, which the vet didn't quite express to me that they were worried about the way it looked. Now the vet said that they think, it's probably fine, but but when they look at a tumor, there are usually 2 ways they can look at a tumor. They either look at it as like, this is perfectly fine, or I can't tell if this is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And those are the only 2 judgments. So they told me, it's like $300 to get it tested at a lab to make sure it has no cancer or anything. And she just said, if you have the $300, I would do it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I don't, but I will. All I heard was do it or you're a bad pet parent and no one will like you. So, so right now, as you and I are speaking, Wolfie is awake. They removed both tumors very successfully. One big plus for Wolfie getting fatty tumors is she's part Saint Bernard, and they have really loose skin.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can take really wide margins around the tumors.
Yay.
Which is very helpful, because if it turns out that the tumor is malignant, they can be like, well, we took, 4 inches out from the tumor, so there's less of a likelihood of it spreading or coming back.
Yeah.
So, but that's really good, because then when they stitch it together, her skin just, compensates and returns to being, she's, most dogs have pretty loose skin, but especially St. Bernards do. So she's got lots of it. You can grab her by the shoulders and just like stretch her skin back, and she just looks at you like I like that. So, but yeah, so she's doing good. She's such a weird dog, by the way. I get out of the car. I get her out of the car. Henwolf loves going to the vet. So the nurse puts the leash on her, and Henwolf just walks straight up the stairs and into the front door with the nurse. The end.
Aww.
Like, just excited the whole time. So I'll be picking her up in about 3 hours. I scheduled pickup for 5:10 p.m.
Wow.
So that's going to be pretty cool. They like to make sure that they're pretty much done being groggy.
That makes sense.
Before they give them back to you. So
you don't want them to drive home groggy.
No. And Henwolf will be driving me home, because I'll be tired of eating French fries in the back seat. So
yeah.
But yeah, so because generally the way this vet does it, I don't know if other vets do it this way, is they schedule you a drop-off time, which is in 30-minute windows between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So the week of the surgery, they'll give you a call and be like, okay, your drop-off is between 8:30 and 9, or 8 and 8:30, or 9 and 9:30, or 9:30 and 10.
Right.
So they're like, okay, so that's when you drop off. Well, I got the call. It's between 8 and 8:30. So you drive up, you drop off the dog. Right now, everything is COVID safe. So they come to your car and get the dog from you after you sign the paperwork. And then they call you once the surgery is all good. And then they have a similar thing where they have windows to schedule a pickup. And I believe they start at 4:30 and end at 7 p.m.
Okay.
So, and I was able to book Henwolf for 5:10 p.m. So
that's so, I mean, I totally understand that, but it just sounds like you're ordering food. So
I'm not going to eat my dog, Michelle.
I mean, it would be hard.
She's big and strong.
Yeah.
So you still, I am looking forward to when you eventually get to meet Henwolf. You got to come out and see us. I think you'd like her.
See you in 2022.
But no, so yeah, they said she's doing good. And
good.
I shouldn't worry, but I worry. I can't help it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So you should have heard the relief in my voice when they said, yeah, we call you the moment she wakes up to schedule the pickup. I was like, oh, good. I was afraid I was going to have to ask. I was got to be like, can you call me the moment she wakes up, please?
It could be like my car, where it's like, we'll call you. And then I wait for like 5 hours and I'm like, okay, do I call them? And then I call them and they're like, oh, it's done.
What's funny is it is a lot like dropping your car off for work, though, because like they'll ask you like what price point, like how much more than you're expecting would we need, like if there's $300 in additional charges, do you want us to call you, or would you like us to set the cap at like if there's $500 in additional charges, we'll call you.
Yeah.
So I am reckless, so I just said do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm praying it's going to be less than $2,000.
I mean, they probably gave her a new muffler and repainted her. So
when I first got her, it was like I had to put like $1,600 or $1,700 on her right away.
When you buy new cars, I mean, when you buy a used car, that's what happens.
She was a gently used, certified pre-owned dog. Thank you very much, Michelle. So
okay.
I don't appreciate people misrepresenting my dog's resale value. But no, yeah, that was literally the way I looked at it. So yeah, it's funny. It's like clockwork. I literally got out of the pretty much the majority of all debt I had in the world yesterday it was yesterday. And today I need to put like a bunch on a medical credit card. The good thing about the medical credit card is it's 18 months, same as cash.
Okay.
So I'm using that, and then I'll decide how much I can pay right away after it's on the balance, which I think is the reasonable way to do it.
Sure. So, yeah.
But it'll be fine. Yeah. I'll be fine. I'm just going to eat my own legs for breakfast.
Okay. I mean, if that's what you want.
For a second, I thought you were like, okay. I mean, it's a little late for breakfast. That's what I thought you were going to.
Oh, sorry. Next time.
Next time. But I will say it's interesting having only Chicano, my timid boy dog here. He is laying right by my feet. He has not really left my side since I got back without Henwolf. I left him with Rachel this morning. I didn't want him to be alone. Oh gosh.
She's like crying.
Oh.
Come here.
Poor Gigs. Okay, Gigs is Michelle's cat, for those who don't know.
You can do it. I believe in you. You just gotta climb.
Aw.
Do you want me to pick you up? You don't need me to pick you up. You could do it yourself. Yeah. There you go. She's like, she really doesn't like me in this bathroom.
Is it her bathroom?
No, nobody goes in this bathroom.
It's the off limits bathroom.
Actually, oh my god, please don't knock the microphone. Actually, it is the off limits bathroom because it's connected to the basement, and there's no way to keep this bathroom open and not have the basement directly open. So
yeah, and you don't want your cat hanging out in the basement too much.
Yeah, because I mean, she likes the basement, but I don't want her to be down there unsupervised because there's like power tools and saws.
You don't want her playing with that stuff.
Yeah, she's not reasonable enough. I just don't want her to start a project and then I have to pay for it.
Fair point. But so yeah, anyway, but I was told that after Henwolf and I left, Chicano sat at the door for 20 minutes.
Aww.
So, you know, I think they've bonded pretty well. So
that's really sad.
Just in case Henwolf isn't feeling super like dealing with shit, I'm not going to bring Chicano to pick her up because she may just be like, get out of my fucking way. Because she's like, get out of my fucking way when she's well.
Yeah.
So luckily he doesn't take it personally anymore. When she shoves him out of the way with brute force, he just kind of goes, okay. Like, I get it. Like, you're not trying to hurt me, but if I get hurt, it's my own fault. Oh. That's the way of the dog.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's just laying on the floor all stretched out in my office.
Aww.
He's very fluffy.
That's good.
Yeah, I wanted to spend the day with him, but we have thunderstorms all day. I wanted to take him out. But it is nasty out and it's like muggy hot. It's 70% humidity. That seems high.
I mean, it's high. You know, it's not 90% humidity like it was last week here, but you know.
Jesus.
It was that one day. That was hard that day. It never felt okay all day.
It doesn't sound okay. So
yeah. Well, I was like it was one of those where like, you know, like when you're like in a place, like a really cold place, like a business, and you come out and it's really muggy out, it feels like terrible. You know, that thing?
Yeah. No, I get it.
But like usually like after a while I'll adjust, and I just never adjusted that day. I was just uncomfortable. Yep.
Yeah, you just had to kind of give in on it.
Yeah.
Be like, well, this is my life now.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, so dog stuff.
Yeah. They're
doing good. Chicano's doing great. So
good.
He's just, I don't think he's going to love when I put him in the crate by himself and leave, but it'll be fine. He loved going to the post office, just the two of us. He kept walking between Henwolf's spot and his spot in the back of the car. He was just like, wow, I have all the options.
Yeah.
So he's a good boy. Anyway, I could talk about my pets forever.
You can if you want.
This has been a long week for me. I have a lot of things I need to do.
Yeah.
And that's hard sometimes. I have like an immense amount of paperwork I'm in the process of filing. I mean, a lot of paperwork. And it's not only stressful and annoying, but boring.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Sometimes
I mean, that's what you want.
Well, sometimes it's nice to do like boring, mindless work.
It's not mindless. I have to like very like heavily locate all of this documentation and organize it. So I wish it was mindless. No, I have to like really think a lot, and anything I can't find, I have to create. So the movie business is very, very glamorous. People don't even know. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I've got like lots of paperwork to do. I'm working on a couple of post-production jobs, and those aren't as boring, but they're not as pressing either. So anytime I work on them, I'm totally taking time away from the thing that I need to get done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So of course I'm working on it a lot, you know.
No, you don't have. I don't know. So
you don't know what?
I don't know what's going on. I'm just here.
So yeah, so, but my point was just that, so I did not do what I normally do, which is sit and really think about what our episode is going to be about. So I do apologize that I am too boring and that I'm not giving Michelle what she needs to be a phenomenal performer.
You're doing what you need to do, and I am just really, really high anxiety right now. So,
well, why are you high anxiety right now?
I don't know.
You don't know at all?
I'm not. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's just everything.
Sure.
And some days are just not as good as other days. Like, I had a day 2 days ago that I felt okay, and I was like, wow. And then then that was it.
I do get that, because I have days that are a lot better. Today's like a very middle day. Yesterday, well, okay, correction. Today's a very middle day after I got the call that Henwolf was awake. Then I was like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden I could like, you know, sit like not perfectly straight backed and stuff. Like I was like, okay, I could relax for a minute, sort of.
Yeah.
But I think it was Monday or Sunday where I was just like, it was Sunday. I was just a complete and utter mess of stress.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't think I was good on Sunday, but I wasn't good on Sunday or Tuesday. Yeah.
So it's, you know, and those are examples I'm giving without anything that I can pinpoint that did it. I just wasn't okay. And nothing happened whatsoever. I just wasn't feeling good. So, but it's fun. It's fine. We all like our anxiety's great.
Yeah.
So you love it, right? It's good times.
I mean, it's what I'm used to, so it must be okay.
Yeah. So, what are you watching right now? Any animes?
I just finished watching Steins Gate because I'm way behind in the world.
Steins Gate. This is a Japanimation?
Yes. You did ask me what anime, right?
Yes. I was simply... Well, I want to say I was simply confirming, but really I just wanted to use the phrase Japanimation because I feel like I'm the only one that remembers when they tried to make that the label for anime in America.
You might be, because like I don't remember that.
They pushed that really hard for a little while, that it was the Japanimation block. It might have been on MTV.
Yeah, then I really don't know.
Somewhere, one of those places, one of those Viacom channels that they first test marketed anime. So it was either MTV or Cartoon Network or one of those, but they would call it the Japanimation block. And I was like, whoa, it's animation, but from Japan, animation. I mean, could be.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
But my brain wants to remember it as Steinmart because there is a store called Steinmart down the street from my house.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Steins Gate?
Steins Gate.
Yes.
So it's about a Jewish man who has a gate?
It is literally not those are just 2 words. And I mean, but the thing is, it's not like one of those times where it's like, oh, they picked 2 words and I don't know why these 2 words are together. Like the anime screwed it up, or like the mangaka like was like, I just picked some words. Or even like in a situation like Fruits Basket, where like there's actually a reason it's called that, but it sounds like it's just 2 words. But this is really just like nothing, because what it is it's about this mad scientist with air quotes, just this like 23-year-old dude who like thinks he's like awesome, and he like thinks he's a mad scientist, and he has like an alias name. Is Hohoin Kyoma or something? But it's like he just and he like laughs like a mad scientist, and so he just talks about Steins Gate, which is just something that he came up with. And there's someone even remarks that it's super weird that it is German and English combined and they don't understand. But
that
like he
weird.
he doesn't even know what it is. And he like sometimes like will take his phone out and act like he's talking to someone on it. And then say El Sai Kangaroo, which also doesn't mean anything. And like all the characters are like super weird. But it's really, it ends up like, and it's really hard because a lot of the characters, all of them are like not likable in the beginning, obviously, especially the main character, being that he is, at least slightly delusional about how cool he is. And he just like rents an apartment that is like their quote unquote lab, where like him and his friends like just make stuff. They're like, well, what if we just did this with this? So they're at this point where they have this microwave that they did something like it's the phone microwave, where like they hooked up a phone to a microwave, I guess, to make the microwave work or something. I don't really know. They didn't explain what they did. I don't even think they know what they did. And when they cook things in it, when they put a banana in it, the banana turns into green gel. And they're like, what is it? What's going on? Why is it making gel nanas? And it turns out they've accidentally created a time machine. So it's just all about that. And it goes from being like kind of lighthearted and kind of like, I don't know what's going on here, to like really, really sad for the rest of the time. And having to do with, what's that called? Come on, I can do this because it is something that I'm interested in. When the thing, quantum suicide has a lot to do with that. And yeah, it's actually really, really fucking good. But I had started watching it a couple of times and stopped because I was like, I don't like this. I just had to get through the first couple episodes. So that's it.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, that was fascinating.
It's so good.
I'm glad that you like it. Wow. I have been, this is relatively related. I have been revisiting one of my earliest, aside from Godzilla, one of my earliest Japanese, art media influences, which is of course, the Japanese Deathmatch Wrestling. And I keep telling you that I wish to help you gain a broader perspective of Japanese culture through their media than just anime. That like you should, watch Godzilla movies, and then you should, but I totally ignore, and like, Japanese horror movies or Japanese, popular movies in each decade.
Yeah. I've definitely watched Japanese horror movies.
You have?
Yeah.
Which one? Weird. Oh, like Ringu and stuff? I
watched something that in like I had a horror movie class in college where we just watched horror movies.
College is such a racket.
That was like the best class because literally I took it because I was like, oh, are we just going to watch horror movies? And we just watched horror movies the whole time. And we like discussed them a little bit. And I think our final was like, just talk about like a movie that you liked and explain things. But we definitely watched a couple of Japanese horror films, and I don't remember what they were offhand, but they were...
It was probably like Ringu and Ju-on were probably, because those are like the most famous ones.
It wasn't Ringu, because I know what that is. It was something that I wasn't familiar with.
Might have been Ju-on or Audition. I think Audition's Japanese. Because I'm not going to lie, especially when their titles have been put into English, it's sometimes hard for me to remember off the top of my head if it's like Korean or Japanese, because they both have really good horror movie output, both countries. That's so you took a horror movie class.
That was a nice class.
And somehow you didn't see Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, we watched like weird. That's the other reason I don't think it was a really popular one, because we watched like the weirdest things. We watched just a documentary about a slaughterhouse.
Whoa,
that was weird. It's like a French documentary, and it was apparently like super important. So it was about a slaughterhouse in France in like the 19 somethings. It was
an abattoir.
I don't know.
That's French for slaughterhouse.
Oh, maybe. I don't like it was, unless I don't know how old everyone thinks I am, but I've been out of college for long enough that I don't remember any of this stuff. So
it's okay. I can appreciate it.
Oh man. Yeah. So,
but so on top of Japanese horror, something that I've only touched on in talking to you in general a little bit is Japanese professional wrestling, which is really fascinating, because in Japan, especially in the 80s and 90s, wrestling was such a big deal that wrestling events would be held in stadiums. I mean, like the amount of people that would buy wrestling pay-per-views would come and see them live in Japan. 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 people for regular events.
Wow.
And one of the things Japan invented sort of in pro wrestling was what was called the Deathmatch. And these are matches where there are specific weapon stipulations, like like a board with barbed wire stapled to it that you can throw your opponent on. Or one of the more popular ones that came later in the early 90s were ring ropes being removed and replaced with barbed wire with explosive charges on them. So you shove your opponent into them and they explode a little bit.
Oh.
And now, obviously it's professional wrestling, so the endings are predetermined. But you really are getting slammed on like a pile of thumbtacks.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another one where was just thumbtacks all over the ring.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's not good.
Other things, one of my favorite death matches I ever saw when I was younger was one where if there was no winner after I think it was 15 minutes, then the ring just explodes.
Wow.
And there was no winner, and it's so great because you hear as the countdown starts to like go over the loudspeakers, the referee runs out of the ring, and both the wrestlers just drop to the floor and cover their heads as the ring explodes.
Oh, God.
And you're like, cool. Other weapons that were common, fluorescent light tubes. They would put them against the ring ropes, so when you run into the ring ropes, you bash into a bunch of fluorescent light tubes.
Yeah.
In America, there are deathmatch tournaments now. In fact, one of the biggest companies that runs death matches is based out of Philly. But they have to run their death match in Delaware, because in Delaware they can still get permits to hold the event. But no venue will host it, so they actually host it on the owner's parents' farm in Delaware. I'm not kidding. It's his parents' acreage, and they put the ring up and they put out chairs because it's the only way that they can do the show, because no venue is going to hold a death match.
Yeah. I like Delaware though. It's good.
I'm glad you like Delaware.
I don't like go there a lot, but like they don't have any taxes on purchases. Sales? Yeah.
I've never been. I would like to go.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a place.
I'd like to be able to reference Wayne's World standing in Delaware. Whoa. We're in Delaware. Whoa. But yeah, so deathmatch wrestling is crazy, and things like getting thrown onto cinder blocks, getting thrown. Now a lot of this stuff is kind of old school carny tricks, like putting a cinder block on someone's chest and hitting it with a sledgehammer or a baseball bat to break it. That's just an old carnival trick.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Another one that I was rewatching a couple last night because I wanted context because I only remembered them. I didn't really, I didn't properly remember them. I remembered them from years ago.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, they did a bed of nails match, and you have a bed of nails like a carnival performer would lay on,
mm-hmm.
which means that the trick is you lay flat on it.
Yeah.
And if you're really unlucky or the force is very great, they would puncture your skin just barely,
right,
but they wouldn't penetrate and cause, grievous bodily harm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I was watching the match, I noticed, that when they would fall on the bed of nails, they'd fall flat, which you're supposed to fall flat in wrestling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one moment where the guy put a bed of nails on top of someone and was going to jump on it. And literally, as the bed of nails is laying on the guy, I'm like, oh God, he has his arm up like to protect him. And I'm like, dude, if he doesn't move his arm, those nails are going to go right through his arm.
Yeah.
And at the last second, he moves his arm out and lets the bed of nails be like completely across his chest.
Oh.
And then the guy hits him and he's okay-ish. He was bleeding. But the other moment was he fell out of the ring and accidentally landed elbow first on the bed of nails. And I could see that it went into his arm a little bit because that's not how you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is this is the culture you like so much. You know?
Yeah.
No, Japan just has a very fascinating relationship with certain kinds of extreme sports.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, I don't know if you knew this about Japanese wrestling, because in general, Japanese wrestling is more brutal. They tend to do what's called shoot style, which is like they try to make it look really convincing. So they're like punching each other extremely hard and
mm-hmm.
dropping each other on their heads, which is now not considered to be okay because of what we've learned about long-term head injuries. Yeah, like repetitive concussions in particular. Mm-hmm. But also because people break, their necks get hurt. The craziest thing is that like they'll do King of the Deathmatch tournaments and nobody has to go to a hospital at the end somehow.
Wow.
I mean, they might need a paramedic to staple them up, but they don't need to go to the hospital.
Okay.
But one thing about Japanese wrestling to keep in mind is like the audience applauds good sportsmanship. So like if there's a clean break of a hold, the audience will applaud. They applaud, excellent moves. But they really applaud sportsmanship. So, which also makes it very easy to be a bad guy. Because if you walk in there and, a guy puts his hand out and you knock it away or you kick him while he's bowing, they're going to boo you.
Yeah.
You're a bad dude.
Yeah.
You're not nice.
Yeah.
Can't you bow to the guy, then throw him in the tank of piranha? Which was a thing I watched. They had a tank with piranha.
Wow.
That are like less than the size of the palm of your hand. And I mean your palm of your hand. They're very small.
Okay, that's small.
They're very small. And it was so funny because like they fall in the piranha tank and you're like, this is not as cool as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think the piranha are doing anything. I think they're just scared.
Well, yeah, they're like, why is there a person in here now? We're just hanging out.
And it's a tank that, is like big enough to barely hold a person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So they're real scared.
Yeah. It's like an aquarium almost. So, piranha tank. And then, but the most brutal is considered to be the removing the ring ropes and replacing them with the barbed wire.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just heinous.
That sounds, yeah.
So I was thinking next time you and I sit down to watch some 2-7, I'll pull up some Japanese death matches.
Okay.
And you can learn about their culture.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, no joke, the only reason I even thought about Japanese death matches was because of watching anime with you. Because, not to say that they're exactly the same, but like I see a lot of things in like the anime you show me that remind me of other Japanese media I've consumed throughout my lifetime.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But it's also just kind of fascinating to think that, because it's an outside culture, it's easy to look at our culture and go, yeah, well, everything interconnects because, like, here I am. Like, I've watched it. Mm-hmm. But it's really fascinating for me to watch, like, a Japanese cartoon and be like, this is reminding me of 25-year-old, Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I guess they probably watched it when they were kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sidetrack from your what you were going to say.
No, you should definitely get us away from Japanese death matches as quickly.
It is slightly related, but like I've noticed, because I don't really think about it so much when I watch anime. But there's a like a kind of computer animated like cartoon thing. I don't know what it is, called Ruby, that looks kind of like anime. And I actually didn't know if it was like Western or anime for a while. And I heard the characters. I mean, it was dubbed or it was in English. But like listening to like the context of what they were talking about, and even like the movements characters were making, I was like, oh, it's American, like immediately. And I didn't realize that things were that different until I saw it like that. Mm-hmm. But just like the situations and the dialogue is just totally different. I don't know. That's what I got.
No, I mean that's interesting though. And it's something that has definitely fascinated me because I forget that as a little kid I was watching like Godzilla, mm-hmm. and therefore have a little idea of what Japanese people were into because they were really into those movies. They were very popular. Yeah. So also another fun thing about watching Japanese wrestling is with the men, it can be a little complicated, like who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But with the women, it's like, okay, so I think the good guy is the one that looks like a Power Ranger. And I think the bad guy is the one with the dyed hair who's really big.
I was going to say dyed hair.
Yeah, dyed hair.
Yeah.
But like, because that's another thing that's popular in Japanese wrestling is that generally the bad guy female wrestlers tend to be large, like mm-hmm. they tend to be very big, strong women, and then which is not super common in female wrestling. So they tend to be basically monsters, and they'll have like ridiculous hair, like spiked, like Liberty spikes and stuff. Wow. And of course, it'll be dyed because anybody who dyes their hair, I don't know about that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually crazy because I didn't know about the whole like, Japanese don't dye your hair, don't have brown hair and mm-hmm, stuff. Mm-hmm. So now when I watch like old wrestling from the 90s, I'm like, whoa, that female wrestler had like really dyed hair in like 1994. Mm-hmm. And it's still frowned upon.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's weird.
It's strange. So this is what happens when I don't heavily think of a format. We end up talking about Japanese death matches.
Sorry.
I blame you. It's your fault. You encouraged me. You didn't just go, no.
Okay. And next time I'll just say no. No, it's okay.
And then I'll be like, buddy, hit him with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
I'll just be like, I don't know what that means.
You know what that means.
I don't know what those words are.
Thanks for listening. You can email us at thisshowисawkward@gmail.com or go to awkwardshow.com or whatever. See you next time.